Chapter 8. What He'll Never Remember. The next morning, Howen woke up with a slightly heavy head. Ah, why did I drink so much? She muttered to herself. She dragged herself to the bathroom, freshened up, and made her way to the dining area. Good morning, a familiar voice greeted her. She blinked and looked properly. Suho was already at the dining table, having his breakfast, while Bora was bustling in the kitchen. You're still here? She asked, surprised. Actually, I woke up a little late today. So, yeah, I'm going a bit slow. He smiled casually. You seem like you have a hangover, he remarked. Yeah, my head is aching, she admitted, rubbing her temples. Suho smirked. A hangover from just one bottle of soju? She smiled. I'm not like you. Who needs 3 bottles to get drunk? She sat down in front of him, and he called out, Bora, get Madam a hangover soup. Yes, sir, Bora replied promptly, hurrying to prepare it. After a minute, Bora returned with Howen's regular energy drink. Ma'am, she said, handing it over. Suho glanced at it curiously. What's this? Howen, still feeling the effects of her hangover, replied, this is some magical energy drink your Oma suggested Bora to give me. Suho raised an eyebrow. Bora? Did Oma suggest this? Yes, sir. Ma'am said it's to keep Howen Mom healthy enough, so things can move faster, Bora explained politely. Suho groaned. Oma, such a baby obsession. Howen smiled faintly, sipping the drink. Let it be. It's for my good health. Nothing wrong with that. Suho nodded and said, Okay, take care, before rushing off to the office. Howen watched him leave, finishing her drink, still feeling a little dazed, but strangely amused. That night, the atmosphere was quiet. Just the soft clink of soju bottles and their low conversation. Over the past few days, they had grown unusually close. He would pour out stories of his love for Yeren, and she would listen, occasionally sharing her own life experiences. With every sip, his laughter grew lighter, his shoulders more relaxed, until finally he was completely drunk. Howen steadied his stumbling figure and guided him to the bedroom. He grinned like a mischievous child, leaning on her slightly. Howena! He slurred, eyes sparkling with mischief. She hummed, guiding him to sit on the bed. You know what it feels like? He continued, voice soft but playful. Every night after I get drunk, it's like I enter some magical world with you. And then, poof, I forget it all when I wake up. Howen looked up at him, watching his unguarded expression. His grin was wide, innocent, almost boyish, and for a moment she forgot the complications of their contract, the unspoken tensions. Everything melted into the simple, intimate magic of that shared night. But you know what I forgot? He murmured, his voice soft, teasing. That you'll remember everything, every little detail of what happened between us. Her heart skipped a beat. Don't feel bad if I hurt you, okay? Then he added, concern flickering in his eyes. She smiled softly. No, I won't. He sighed and continued, voice low and reflective. I know you'll hide it. I still remember our first time. You were nervous, scared, and yet I ended up touching you. I felt guilty for hurting you that night. Her heart raced, and she looked at him, caught between awe and tenderness. But today, he said, reaching out, I'll be gentle. I'll try not to hurt you, okay? She nodded, a small, trusting smile on her lips. He collapsed back onto the bed, patting the space beside him. Come, he whispered. She moved closer and sat down, feeling the weight of the moment settle between them, intimate and quiet, yet charged with unspoken emotions. He looked up at her, eyes hazy but still holding a strange sincerity. I know. Now you're doing this for me and Yeren, more than for your family business. You want us to be happy, aren't you? His voice was slow, heavy from the alcohol. Her heart thumped hard inside her chest. She didn't know what to say, so she only nodded. See? I knew it. He gave a faint, crooked smile. I'm glad I found someone so good to carry my baby. She forced a small smile, though inside she felt something twist painfully. Will you keep talking? She murmured quietly. Or should we start? He grinned faintly at her question, his words slurring. Yes, I know. He stood up unsteadily, beginning to take off his pants. Quickly, almost instinctively, she reached for the switch and dimmed the lights. She didn't want to see him like this, drunk and vulnerable. He climbed onto the bed, leaning closer, his warm, intoxicated breath brushing against her lips. I'll be gentle tonight, he whispered slowly. Let me know if it hurts. His voice lingered in the dim room, soft but heavy with everything unsaid. She hummed softly, and he began. At first, it was a strange mix of pleasure and tension, but gradually, the sensation leaned more toward pleasure than pain. Howen could feel every touch, every movement, and it sent shivers through her. His face buried in her neck, she held him tightly, trying to steady herself against the intensity. She tried to control her moans, but the pleasure was too much. She couldn't help it. After a few minutes, he stilled, his breath warm against her neck. He looked up at her face, gaze heavy with drunkenness. Did I hurt you? He whispered, his voice laced with concern. She smiled softly and whispered back, No, it felt good. A relieved smile spread across his face before he collapsed on her, completely exhausted, passing out into a deep, drunken sleep. Tears quietly slipped down her cheeks, though she didn't understand why. She wanted to stay there, wrapped in his embrace, but the intensity of her emotions made her pull away before she lost herself completely. Gently, she covered him with the blanket and retreated to the couch. Sleep was nowhere near her, as her gaze kept drifting back to the bed, lingering on his sleeping figure. Another tear traced down her face, the thought gnawing at her heart. Tomorrow he would forget everything, and this fleeting closeness would vanish.